Now, yesterday we brought you the story of our receptionist's dodgy gas bill, and you may have heard Di talk very eloquently, I might say. Got charged $700 for just 2 weeks of gas usage. Now, I made the calculation based on her previous bills that she really should have been paying $18, not $700. So clearly there was a mistake. She chased it up with AGL. They didn't budge and they were rude about it. And it wasn't until Di went to the Ombudsman that things started to change. See, most people wouldn't even bother going that extra length to try and get justice on this. They'd end up paying and be slugged. Eventually they agreed to drop the bill down to as much as $60, reasonable in the circumstances, but nowhere near the $18 that bill should have been. And obviously Di doesn't want to stay with AGL, but she has because she's gone to another place where there's an existing supply and the contract is with AGL. So she wants out, and she's having trouble doing that. I said to her yesterday, we'd talked to our friends at the 50 Up Club, who of course do that. They offer you deals based on their buying power, their membership, which is now close to 125,000 members, and we'll find out shortly what can be done for Di. But adding on to that, we got that email from Gina, who said that she had a bill for $11,000. She laughed her way onto the phone. They didn't think it was funny. They then sent her another bill of $16,500. And then after a whole heap of very serious discussion, they admitted fault and decided to give her the bill, which was probably closer to the truth. It was her home after all, and she only has one kid living at home. $96. $96 from $16,500. This is how aware you've got to be that you're not being ripped off. From the 50 Up Club, I've got Christopher Zinn in the studio this afternoon. Chris, thank you very much for coming in.
Yeah, pleasure, Chris.
Now, first of all, let's get Di's case over and done with. Di is with AGL. She wants to go through 50 Up Club. As I mentioned to her yesterday, surely we can do something about that, but it is a gas account that she has, I think, in this new premises. Where are we up to with her?
Look, I just spoke to Di on the way in, and we shared war stories in this sense. She's actually, as I understand it, moved to a place where there's not reticulated gas, so it's bottled gas. So she won't need a contract. So she's happy with that. She knows what it's going to cost, how much it uses, when to replace it. That's fine.
So that will be a reliable thing. She can rely on that.
She can, but
bill.
With the electricity was with AGL, and she didn't want to carry on with them. She tried to move to Click Electricity, who are the group we have an arrangement with at the 50 Up Club. AGL, she says, just didn't let that happen, despite Click saying they tried numerous times. I'm pleased to say it has gone through today.
Oh, good.
So she should get a welcome pack and hopefully get a much better deal on the electricity to boot.
Excellent. If you're completely unsatisfied with a company, do you really have to go to the Ombudsman to try and get some kind of justice?
Well, it depends how you're dissatisfied. I mean, switching can get great results. And if you tell the company you're with that you're fed up for X, Y, or Z reasons, and you're going to move, you'll be amazed what they can pull out of the hat in terms of entreaties to keep you there. But if it's a billing dispute, if it is something that really can't be sorted out in that sense, and first of all, you do have to talk to the company before you go to the Ombudsman, then I'll tell you the Energy and Water Ombudsman in New South Wales is a fantastic group. Di said the same. I've been in a dispute myself with an inflated gas bill of epic proportions.
Your home gas bill?
My home gas bill should have been about $120. It was over $1,000.
Yeah.
And again, we've been in and out. I've had the meter replaced, checks done. No one can explain what happened. But actually, they seek to push the uncertainty onto you. So no one can explain why it's so big. But you know what? It's up to the consumer to pay. Well, look, the Ombudsman have much better ways of looking at this, and I would suggest any issue after you've been to your retailer, then go to the Ombudsman. They're very friendly and they can explain, and they answer the phone in about 19 seconds, which is better than Centrelink.
Exactly. Centrelink take about 3 hours, or sometimes someone said to me 3 days. Okay, so good luck with your little battle, and hopefully the Ombudsman can help. Thank you for fixing Di's predicament, which is fantastic. But the reason I asked you to come in here today is because you've done some research and you've discovered that 3 out of 5 Australians are having to go cold to save money. Presumably these are members of the 50 Up Club, so therefore they're over 50. So 3 out of 5 older Australians are basically deciding not to turn the heater on to try and survive?
Yeah, look, we asked them, how do you make electricity bills affordable? And really 80% said it was the power point, i.e. pulling things out of the power point or switching them off. 58% in terms of turning the heater off. So really, they went for hardship, things that would increase their hardship, as opposed to energy efficiency, which was about 39%. So people might do a mixture of things, but the first thing that they do is go cold at this time of year. Whereas I think we'd say, and as their choices have been, switching, 29% have done that. Solar, that's been a very good idea. I mean, it's not something you do overnight. But people, had gone through difficulty as an immediate way to reduce their bill. And look, there are, that I'd say that's the last thing one should consider. But
well, it's disgraceful in a first world country that, say, members of the 50 Up Club over 65, some of those who have retired, that after contributing, after being a productive member and paying taxes for years, they're having to go cold and find the nearest jacket and jumper to sit and maybe watch television or listen to the radio or do something around their home. Like, it's sad.
I agree, and it's because we've had an almost doubling of electricity prices in 5 years. It came up very steeply. It was all to do with the networks and as well as carbon taxes, etc., etc.
Yeah.
The consumer wasn't considered. In fact, the consumer's interest wasn't protected by the regulators who were meant to do that. I'm pleased to say it's really switched now, and the consumer interest is much more up there. But of course, we've still got the networks challenging some of those price determinations that would give a $300 saving to the average household in some parts.
Which brings me to the second half of our discussion this afternoon. Because they are challenging through, I think, the Australian Competition Tribunal, you are going into bat on behalf of bill payers, right, over 50?
Definitely. And so we'd say go to 50upclub.com.au. You can do that snap poll for electricity. We can get some more in. But also we're collecting people's stories to put a submission into this competition tribunal. It's great that, the industry players do it. It's great that others do it. But really the voice of older Australians who probably are at the sharp end of this because they spend more time at home.
Of course.
There's probably less of them. And, of course, there are more fixed costs. There's that daily supply charge. You're in a smaller household. That actually adds the per capita impost even higher for you. So we think that they've got a story that's worth telling. We've got some great comments on already. I'd invite people to have a look about people, scavenging for scrap wood to burn in the stove to keep them warm. So, look, people, not everyone is going to be comfortable all of the time, but certainly when it does get nippy, that does really put the issue of electricity prices to the fore.
Not to mention how unhealthy it is at the same time. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Yeah, pleasure, Chris.
There you go. 50 Up Club, a sponsor of the station as well. But, the more they do survey and research work on those who are members, and we're talking about 125,000 Australians, many of them are you, you're getting some information which at times is startling. 3 out of 5 older Aussies are having to go cold. Is that you? Are you doing that? Because you just can't afford your utilities bill, whether it's gas or electricity.